focus on the process, not the praise, not the likes, not the wins, not the race.
Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Alondra Valencia. Bienvenidos todos sean. And first of all, let me tell you, this is gonna be a Spanglish channel for sure. Este canal va a ser un canal Spanglish, okay? Because I do speak English, I do speak Spanish, hablo español, hablo inglés. Pero don't worry about it, no se preocupen, because I for sure gonna write some subtitles over here. Voy a escribir subtítulos, captions. First of all, I want to say I'm so thankful that you were watching this video. However you came to be here right now, I'm so thankful about it. Again, my name is Alondra Valencia, and this channel for me, it's like a new beginning, but a new beginning not in me, not for the world, but for God. And today, that's why before putting or posting like a long video from anything else, I do want to share first of all my story, my testimony of how God came for me. I mean, came in my life, how He in a way as well came back to me to go back in His way, if that makes sense. Though again, my name is Alondra, I'm 23 years old, and I can tell, well, I was born in Riverside, California. That's where I'm actually still, like, I came back from it. My first years of living were not here, were actually later on in Mexico. So I grew up in Mexico, that's why I say Español, I know Spanish. But before that, I don't want to say that my whole life, even my mom says this, like I've been not the favorite of God. I don't want to say that, but I can do tell that God has really been there for me and ever since. And I can tell even like before even I was born, I could see how he already had a plan for me and how He really let me be here today. And with that I mean that when I was born at 7 months. My mom was about to just go away because there was a problem with like her blood pressure. So for sure the doctors would say like, okay, it's your baby or it's you, but not the two together, you know, like you will not make it. As I was 7 months, I was already out in the world. But that moment, I feel like that was the beginning of God's presence, because my mom, they grew up being a Catholic family. Mainly they're from Jalisco, from Mexico, from a little town called Lagos de Moreno. And what she did was actually pray to our Virgin Mary, our mother, specifically the one that is in San Juan de los Lagos. Of course, like the Virgin Mary intercede for us, for like our lives, and thanks to that and thanks to God who actually accepted, I'm here and she's fine as well. It kind of happened as well with my sister, and I can say that we are really a family of miracles because thankfully we 3 are here. I want to start with that, and it's something so important in my life because you can see how God was there since the beginning, and the Virgin Mary intercession as well. And something that I just did that you will see later, that it's basically the I don't know how to say this in English, pero las peregrinaciones, like pilgrimage or something like that, which is, you know, when people actually go walk like kilometers until getting to the Virgin Mary or to a specific like God place. That's what my mom did at the end. She promised that to the Virgin of San Juan de los Lagos, and if she like saved me or, you know, help us, she would go and she would take me, and that's what happened. So from there you can really see how God was there. I know that's something I always tell everybody, like I'm a miracle. I should be here. I'm just kidding. No, but yeah. So I think that's the first thing that I can tell I grew up with. Of course, I grew up as a kid, and I had the blessing of really having this traditional, like, Catholic life. My mom, of course, she taught me about the Virgin Mary, like our guardian angel, how to pray to God, our Father, like all these prayers that are really part of our Catholic faith. So I can say that I was not conscious of a God in a way, because I was a kid, you just go, with that. But I did knew like I was a miracle, first of all, because that's the story that they told me. That's the story I knew. I knew how to pray to the Virgin Mary, and I feel like having this traditional life, or my mom like getting baptized, like, well, not my mom, like she getting me baptized, and following all these sacraments, in a way, it really did help me when I grew up, and when situations like maybe having an exam or being actually anxious and not knowing really what to do happened. And the first thing that came to my mind was actually praying, and praying to the Virgin Mary. That's something mainly to La Virgen de Guadalupe. And you know that it's also a part of our Mexico, because I don't know if I previously stated, I was born in Riverside in California, but I did grow up in Mexico. First of all, in Jalisco, in Lagos de Moreno, and then I grew up in Monterrey, where I spent like most of my life there, from probably like 5 to 18 years old. So that was my first years of life. Nothing really weird or strange, but I can tell, and I say this because a lot of people say like, oh, why do you teach a kid how to pray, or why do you just don't wait for them to get baptized or get them to choose God, right? But I mean, you're a kid, and I mean, well, I've known kids with amazing stories, but you're a kid, maybe you're not that conscious, but I'm so thankful that your parents still planted that seed on you, because when you grow up, you will at least know a little bit about it and try to find God. So that's the first part of this section of my life, in a way. Of course, I grew up later on. Like I mentioned, we moved to Monterrey. I have a regular, nice childhood life, I could tell. The only thing is that I always focus on good grades, on like being the best. Like I was pretty competitive, which maybe I am right now, but I really try not to make it everything about competition, because I really get stressed, I really get into it, and I don't like that. So but I was really competitive. I was really like first place, like A's, like good grades, and that was really mainly everything I did when I grew up, really. We went to church, I can say that. But and sometimes I did pray, when I feel like stuff happening and not. But that was it. Until the point where, I mean, I didn't really. I knew God was there, but I feel like, and this is like what I think happens with a lot of people, right? We're Catholics that are sleeping, right? Because we do follow the tradition, follow like this stuff in church, but of course it doesn't make sense if you don't have like a meaning behind it. And I'm not saying it's bad. I could say, like, I think this is the seed for everyone, right? But or it's like when they talk about Jesus, it's way different that they talk to you about him when you rather when you know him, right? That's totally different. So that happened with me. I was just a girl in this world with that focus in life. Growing up, I really didn't have a lot of friends, because mainly there was like a lot of competition of like good grades, and I didn't kind of like connect it with whatever there were like having or wanting in life with kids. So yeah, that happened until I was 13 years old. I feel like by that point, you're more conscious about, I mean, you're not a kid anymore, you're already growing up. There was a situation where a family member did pass away. He was not here anymore, And the way she actually was gone was really tragic, right? Like it was not an accident. So, and it was too fast and stuff happened. But I feel like that situation, of course, the grief, first of all, like make you turn back to God or try to, look for something that can help you to thrive through that situation. But also, this is a part of spirits and ghosts and stuff that happens, because a lot of stuff out there it happens, right? And sometimes people are like, oh, this is not real, this is real, but at least for my experience, when this happened, and that's where I actually opened my eyes and I'm like, oh, this is real. Some stuff started happening in my house as well, where my mom actually is the one like, going through that, like maybe someone like playing with her in the door. She was trying to close the door, there was no one. She was feeling someone seated beside her bed. And I did have a dream, which if you want I can later on tell you. I had a dream, like a nightmare dream in a way, and I don't even watch like horror movies, so I don't really even know how that was possible. And the thing is that whatever I listened to in the dream, when I woke up, I still listened to it next to the window. So it was a real situation. I was like, I don't even know if I was dreaming or it was actually happening. So I think that situation in my life was the first thing, because that's how my whole family get back to church, get back to God. Because of it, the priest told us to, at least for me, to get back to a retreat, just join the youth, right, in the group. And that was my first call in a way. So for the ones that do not know what is a retreat, it's mainly a special moment with God. Like I mentioned, like there's a lot of things or a lot of people talking to you about God. If you're going to catechism, you're going to these classes, of course, they talk about Jesus. They talk in the Bible, they talk about Jesus. But a retreat is really this special moment, probably a weekend, planned by people in prayer, with a priest, with activities, with more young people. So they give you different, not conferences, but topics, but also activities, but also reflections. So all these all together with masses, with prayer, really turn to something so powerful, letting you actually like meet Jesus and know about Jesus, like meeting him like face to face. Like I can tell, and I feel like for everyone works different how you connect with him. But that was my first call. I took it, and from there I was 13. I joined them. I stayed in that group, which at the end finished being how do I say this, like a charismatic renovation group, I think, which is meant on or based in the Holy Spirit, on singing, on praising God. That's our kind of prayer, and of course, like keep knowing more about God, different topics. That's what we did. And that's where I actually get my experience into God, into this community as well that God provides to you, because that's something pretty crucial for you to follow along. And that's what happened from 13 to probably like 15, I can say, because later on 16 I get to be at high school, and it was really an intense high school, so I didn't really have the time to go. And then later on COVID came, which we know what kind of era was that. And even though the group was still there, it was not the same, first of all. And I feel like, at least for me, I can say that I just focused on whatever I was doing with high school, with school. Like I mentioned, that was like the doing, the achieving was really my thing. And even though God was there, I just spoke with him sometimes. I did have like a desert in a way, because a lot of stuff like internally like where they're happening. Also because COVID was such an era where you didn't even know what's going on. But also having that point in life where you're like 17, 18, about to graduate and to choose and take that step, that important decision that's gonna be like your thing for life. That was really scary. But at the end, I actually got to choose my career and to find a way to come back to USA, to California, Riverside. Since I have family here, that's how I came back. That's how I get scholarships and get to graduate, right? And get to go to college and university. That even though it was not how I thought it was going to be, I think at the end it was really a blessing. Because that's something also the whole way has taught me. Like, you think something, but at the end, if it doesn't work, will work other way, but a better way, in God's way. So that's what happened. And I can tell that from 18 to 22 was a really cool era where I get to, go to college, like live this American dream in a way, right? Trying to just be a girl in the world. Even though I'm a little bit boring, I'm a señora. I don't really I never went to parties. I never had that experience of, that you see in movies. I never really did anything, just like study work and like a part-time job. And some friends that I did in the way, which right now are like forever with me. And also in the same track and the same mentality. But in that process, different situations happened, I feel like sometimes you think you have the control or you have these plans that not even for me but for others, that you really want to stop being this way. But what happens when it doesn't happen, right? Stuff like that, that made me realize that I didn't really have anything, or I couldn't really do much, right? But just me. And at that point, I was thinking about what to do next with my life, okay? Because, I feel like everyone has been there. Mainly when you're about to graduate. My mom, in a way, got sick. So I was really trying to think, should I get back? Should I just stay here? And one of those dark nights that I can tell, I really asked God, do you even exist? Are you really listening? Because I need help. All those years from when I knew him, I did feel his presence in the group. But later on, stuff happens. I grew up going to church. I grew up being a catechist. I even turned into a catechist, trying to getting more into his word, teaching others. But in a way, I still feel like I was living in automatic. I was still living without a purpose, and I was really doing everything the world tells you to do, right? Be a good person, don't do drugs, don't do anything, be a good girl, behave, get a job, you know what I mean, get a husband. I haven't done that, but but you know what I mean, you're just doing whatever they tell you outside that's gonna make you so happy and so successful. So at the point, that was me. I was as well with a high amount of anxiety, that I even get to have or go to not just a psychologist but a psychiatrist, because of everything I mentioned that was happening, even some accidents around my life that really got me into this trauma in a way, or anxiety point. So that was me. And like I mentioned, one of those dark nights, I was like, you know what, you need to let me know, what should I do, stay, not stay, and for the next day, I received a call from someone I made an internship with before when I was in school. And this person offers me a great job opportunity, that of course I took, and that I made, right? So I graduated. I actually followed that. I took the job, and it was really a great experience because I learned a lot of things that really tested me, and yeah, just put me out of my comfort zone. So that happened. I thought that was gonna be it, but in a way, I feel I really the whole thing really consumed me, or because it was a really demanding job, and it really need my whole attention, my whole like face, my whole social media, everything. That even though I was going to church, even though I was serving as a catechist, like, it was still I was still just here 24/7, and at some point overwhelmed because life, business, jobs, like it's not always amazing. It's always a roller coaster. But I did feel a little bit, overwhelmed about that in a way. Of course, because it's not easy. Until I got to the point where it was not working. And I had to take a decision. We had to take a decision. And, that moment when things don't go your way, when you actually think you figure out the whole thing, yeah, that really breaks you. And it broke me because the only thing at least I had in my life, was myself, my success, my purpose, my direction. And this ending and this just, because like I mentioned, I was like 24/7, everything here of me, right, in this project and this job. When that happens, when that goes away, then I look back to myself and I'm like, well, who am I? Who am I at this point? Because I don't know, like, I did all this stuff and now it's gone. It really took me a time from there to understand that, or to accept it in a way, because from doing something like 24/7 to nothing, at least, I don't know if you have heard when Jesus talks about Marta and Maria, which Marta is just always doing stuff. I think that's me. It took me a little bit of time to just accept it, but also there was still a little bit of hope in that point, because this year I had this trip coming, which was El Camino de Santiago, and that's why I wanted to give this whole context before showing you the Camino and showing you what I learned, and this amazing reflections and in blogs as well, because I blog it. But it was broken. But I do remember that before all this happening, I knew that I had the Camino. So there was something in me that I said, like, you know what? You have to figure out yourself from February, which happened, until now, like until the trip, which was by May 28th. So I had to figure out myself for 4 months and just, be okay, try to figure out myself to actually, go into this trip. And it was so funny how before all this happening, me realizing it's not working, taking the decision and just going away and, stepping out from that, was there was a situation where I asked for a young group of adults in my church, because I really want to do community again. It's hard to just be a human being, so I feel like faith with a community is amazing. And when I asked, they told me, hey, yeah, there's actually a small one, come and join us, like they're gonna do a retreat, if you want, come and help us. And I was like, amazing, I will serve and I will meet these amazing people. And I did. So when the job stuff happened, I knew that God gave me like an amazing gift before all this happening, because there was still this hope here of community, of God actually calling me, just to have a community, to be part of it when all this happened. So when that happened, I was just accepting the whole thing. It was so funny because also I want to mention this, before all this happening, I was, like I mentioned, I was overwhelmed. I was just stressed. I was just like, please make this work, because I need it. Because please, like we do always, right? Not we don't even hear what God needs to tell us. We just ask, and that was me. But I did get this quote or reflection from someone who said, "Father, like do your will, not mine." Right, and that's even like an Our Father. So I remember that when I was praying that day in the church, alone with the Santissimo, with Jesus over there, I just kneel and I was like, God, you know what? Like, because you're not listening. Just kidding. Do your will. Do your will. Don't do mine. Because at the end, even though you have done stuff I ask, and even though you haven't done stuff that I ask, I'm still feeling a lack of you. I still feel empty. So there you go. That moment I surrendered. That moment I let go everything, because I was just really like tired of having all this in my back. All this happened. And the moment, a second, I probably took me a week, right, to just get back to, okay, God. Started doing activities. I even started trying to get the social media for this group, right, young group, because I did have all this project that God has set me, in my life, as a hope. And I received a call from my church, and they tell me, "Hey, Alondra, like, are you free?" And I was like, of course I'm free. I don't even know. I don't have a job. I don't even know what I'm doing. But I was like, yeah, sure. What happened? And they were like, you know what? Someone is sick. We need someone that helps the priest doing a presentation. And when I speak about this priest, something happened so funny, because before that call, actually, now that I remember, sorry. Let's say that call was a Tuesday. On Saturday, when I went to talk with the catechist, because I'm a catechist, the catechist office, I went and I told the catechist, this is happening in my life, and the first thing I want to do was just run away, run back to my home, run back to my mom, and just cry, and later on figure out maybe what I'm gonna do, because I don't know. But it was funny, because when I arrived to the office, before talking to her, there was a priest who came from Mexico to support our church, because we do need sometimes help with our parish. And I was like, because I knew what Jesus was trying to tell me, like, talk to me, talk to him. So I spoke with her, right, and I told her about this, like, hey, this is happening. And then she just says, do you want to talk with the priest? And I'm like, okay. So I just spoke with that priest, and been honest, he gave me a really motivational, like, speech, or motivational, like, just like share his thoughts with me. So I was like, you know what, it's true. Technically, he said I would do more maybe here than there, and probably what I was trying to do was, because I wanted to avoid the pain. I really want to avoid whatever is happening. So, and that was true. So at the end, because of him, I was still maybe trying to figure out if I was going back to Mexico, maybe just as a vacation, and then just come back. In the wild, that's when they called me on Tuesday. And they told me, like, hey, there's someone in the hospital. We need help, because we're going to do a retreat, 2 retreats. And the father asks, like, who is going to do the presentation? So, if you don't know, I love to do, like, Canva, like, presentations, like, social media posts and everything. So I was like, of course, like, I can help him. Like, whatever technological, I'm down. So that's what I did. And since that moment that I met the father, that I helped him with that, I spent like 2 weeks over there in that church. And it's so funny how that worked, because I really truly feel in that special timing of my life, like Jesus came through this priest, and he literally, like, he didn't do this, but I'm saying, like, metaphorically, like, Jesus came down, like, give me a huge hug, told me everything was fine, just walked with me, and I was just his secretary, you know what I mean? Because thanks to the Father, I got to help him for the presentations for the retreats, from some talks that he did in our parish. But because of me being there at church, because of the retreat, I also got to meet the people of the choir of the mass I go to. I already heard it was just two people, right? Which are the husband and wife, and I knew they probably need someone else. And I love to sing, so I was like, I should go, but I'm busy in my life. I can't. So it was so funny how all this happening actually opened the door to be at the end of one of the masses. The priest was there, and we saw, these two people coming out with their piano and everything. And the priest asked him, like, hey, how are you? Like, are you actually going to play this mass? And he was like, oh, no, we just play, Father. And I was like, oh, they're the ones playing at 11, like, the mass I go. And at the end, I present myself. I told them I sing, if they need help. And they say yes. That was, like, the fastest yes ever. And it was so funny how it all worked because, of course, I guess I mentioned I was helping still in the retreats and stuff like that. They told me yes to sing. And then that was a Sunday. For Wednesday, they call me and they say, hey, today we're going to sing in the prayer group, the praying group. Do you want to join us? Wait, no, they didn't say prayer group. They say mass. They were going to play in a mass. And actually it was going to be the mass of this priest I was helping, which I didn't want to go because I felt like I was the whole time with him. So I didn't want him to think like I was just just stalking him or something. But it was so funny because at the end I ended up going, listening to his mass, to his speech and everything that he had to tell, which also I want to mention that all this started and began in Lent, in La Cuaresma, which is so crazy because that was such a special, specific moment in our Catholic faith. So a priest gave the mass, gave the everything, and I sing as well with the choir, with these two amazing people, the husband and wife, and the family basically. And at the end, he told me, hey, do you want to join us? Because we're going to still be singing now, but for the praying group. And probably I've heard about the praying group, but, I don't know. There's a lot of groups in church that I really have no idea. So at the end, I said, yes, I'm here, I don't have anything else to do. And why not, right? I'm here. So I stay, and the second it all started, it was amazing because I get to sing, we got to praise God, and then we got to listen to a speaker, right? Someone that talks about God, a topic. And that was what basically I was doing a long time ago when I was, 13 to 15 at my parish. I get to do the same thing, sing, the Holy Spirit. That was really, again, a charismatic group, right? So that was amazing. And after that, that night when I went to sleep, I got to dream that people were I came back home, right, to Monterrey with my family, and they the door was open, the explosion happening, and then people were following me because they want to disappear me, and I was just running. The whole dream was really intense like that. I woke up, of course, because I was scared. I was like, what's going on? And at the end, I woke up and then I fall asleep again because it was 6 a.m. I was not going to wake up at 6 a.m. I was jobless, so what am I even doing? And I got to sleep again. And now this dream, I woke up from this big white room. Here was a bed, and then to the right there was this huge window, like the hotels, you can say. And I remember specifically the whole thing. The curtains, it was like a green, olive green. And when I opened them, I see the desert. And my dream was like, oh, we have the desert. That's our backyard. Welcome to your house. So that was so funny because I was like, oh, we have a desert as a backyard. That's amazing. And I remember that I look at it and I knew here there was something like a sign, like like a blue sign or something, like from the ones that the cafeterias of the store have, like like this. I knew there was something here. I see the desert, and to the right I could see like a wall, like a white wall, so I knew that it was like the neighbor's house or something. So later on when I see that, it's like my eyes fly through the desert like a drone, like that kind of preview of a desert. And I see, of course, like sand, like mountains of sand. At the end I could see like the windmills, the ones that do like electricity, and they were moving. Something I do clearly remember, and I don't even know how I even know this, was that it was fresh. I could really feel a fresh desert, which was funny though, and I see that, and at some point my eyes just go to the ground, and I see how the ground opens, kind of like the Arizona like desert or something, opens, and water start coming from it, like this blue. And it was not even like light blue, it was like a blue, like a dark blue, intense, like fresh water coming out from there. And I just see like at the end water coming. And that was crazy because even though it was a dream, even though that was happening, I still was analyzing the whole thing. It was like I was just like, what does that mean? Like, I know this is God for sure. I came back, to the window, and then my eyes go to the left. And as I did, like my eyes fly this way, now my eyes fly that way, and I could see white houses, like being in construction. I come back to the window, and I was like, oh, there was this blue, oh my gosh, give me a second. I had no. And so the point is, sorry about that. It's because I started feeling something, and I was like, there's ants in my shoe. Okay. Amazing. So at the end, I came back to the window, and I said like, oh, there's something. I need to look what does it says, because in my head, in my thoughts, I was like, maybe this is saying something like who wanted to like, disappear me. So I look to the left, and I see that blue sign with white letters that say Samaran with Zamaran. And I was like, Samaran, like just thinking like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't even know what does that mean. So I woke up, and the first thing I did, of course, was draw it. Something in me said, this is God, this is like, I have to just draw it, okay? And I did. I'll see if I can put here a picture. I draw it. I'm probably going to put a picture here. And yeah, so at the end, I ChatGPT everything. Which, well, first of all, I look for the word Samaran. If you Google it, I think it's like a Hebrew band that doesn't even make sense. But then I ChatGPT the whole thing, like everything. And then it tells me that Samaran actually, maybe it's not like a word, I think. If you know it, if it is, let me know. I think it's not really like a word, but it comes or derives from the word Samar, which actually, that's a word in Hebrew. And that means praise to God, melody, sing. that day where I get to serve, where I get to join back to the singers, to the worshipers. And that's where I knew God was really calling my attention and calling me again. So that was so special. As you can see, like the whole thing happening for me, I was like so happy because, like I mentioned, after being in this desert, into this search, into this way of living, finally that was happening. All this happened, and Holy Week was coming after this. You can tell I felt so renovated, so amazing, because now I was a catechist, now I was in the prayer group, now I was in the choir, which I am still, singing now to God every Sunday. And now I was still with the young adults group. So, and get to serve later on the Holy Week. That was so special. And I feel like the whole trip, the whole situation, really get me to be more conscious about the Holy Week, about this Lent, about everything. Because, like I mentioned, I knew already God. I follow Him in a way sometimes when I remember. But my focus was not on Him. My focus was on me, my purpose, my life. So all this happened. All this happened in those 2 weeks. And after that, I still had to figure out myself, right? Thankfully, opportunities and stuff happened. So let's say that I had everything covered, right, for this trip. And technically, that's how I started the Camino de Santiago. But I understood that to share later on what I'm going to share with you about the Camino, I had to go through all this. Of course, first met Him, knew about Him, then actually get to build that relationship with Jesus. As in every other situation, the relationship, it's not easy. It's not like 100% once you get to meet the people, the person. And that's what happened. And then mainly when you are trying to do your thing and not even like actually listening to Jesus. That's what I understood, because everything I did, everything like my goals and purpose in a way was towards the world, towards what success meant for everyone. But then trying to surrender to God, trying to just be open to listen, even like that's hard. Not just to listen, but actually do it, actually accept it. And for a long time, I really believe, for example, music. I had my songs out there. I thought that would be it, until I realized that you had to break yourself, your values, and everything I was to actually maybe thrive into the musical industry, which I was not gonna do. And now business, that's what I tried, and I'm trying. But maybe that wasn't my moment. That for sure taught me a lesson. I'm not saying I'm not doing that, but maybe it was not just the focus of all, right? Which is the money, because that's how you do business, right? But but not like, hopefully not just that, like as the purpose of it, because I still feel the lack. And then I feel like that was the main thing. Maybe now videos as well, I did videos and I tried to do my thing to go viral and like stuff like dancing in the camera, and like now these videos as well for this like job, right? Hope Queen, right? That also help, and you became like an influencer. So all this stuff that I for sure like was natural to me, and I was like, well, I'm gonna take these skills towards this goal, right? My thing. At the end, like one by one, slowly die in a way, because I realized it was not making me happy, or it was not gonna work because I had to do this. But it's so funny how at the end, surrendering my dreams, surrendering who I am, God got to work on me. And I feel like He knows us so well that those little dreams, for example, of doing videos, those dreams, like that dream of singing, that dream of business or organizational, like organizing stuff and doing stuff and projects, maybe it's not like we're a mistake, or part of me is something that I love to do, that probably hopefully goes well, but probably he kind of like naturally has shown me that that's me, that's amazing, that they're great, but that probably he wants them to use it for him, right, for his plan in a different way. Not me being the center, not money being the center, not the success of the world being the center, but him and his love and the service more than everything. Because after all this, I've really figured out that I love to help others, I love to talk, I love to do videos, I love to sing. And I feel like doing all this with a purpose, with his purpose, right? With loving, with helping, that really fills my soul. So that's why I'm here today, sharing my testimony, sharing a little bit of my journey. Being honest, I could talk and talk and talk and give more details, but I don't want to do a 2-hour video. But I do hope you learn something about me now, my story. In a way, this has been the thing. Like I mentioned, I knew God who was there from the first time, kind of knew him, but peace out. And then that's how he just called me today, like right now, this year. And I'm so excited to really see what he does in my life, but also in the life of others I get to connect with, I get to meet. Like I mentioned, this happened until the Camino de Santiago, this trip I had from May to June. And more things even happen, right? So don't go anywhere, because I'll share with you more about this. But like I mentioned, I wanted to give you a little bit of context of who I am, my story, how I was not born just following God and being in love with him, being so perfect, because I'm not. Even though all this happened, even though I feel the call and I in a way have said yes and I'm here, it's tough. It's tough to really just keep going and figure out things, because even though now I have his call and I know his love and I'm so excited about these projects, I'm still living in the world. And I feel like that's the challenge of how saying yes to him, making all this amazing projects and amazing service for him, but also having doing all that in the world, because I still need to eat, I still need a house, I still need a job. And I mean, Jesus was a carpenter for a long time before his mission. So I feel like that's what I need to find right now. My carpenter job. I don't know, but well, I just want to say, this is me, this is my story, and really this is just the beginning. It's what you're gonna see in the next videos. It's a great experience, a great moment of reflection that I hope you enjoy. So those are gonna be in Spanish, by the way, because I just naturally spoke Spanish, but I'm for sure gonna put some captions or speak a little bit of English or something, so don't worry about it. Thank you for listening. I really hope this open your mind, open your heart, connected with you, and all these common videos as well. Let me know if you have any questions, any comments about this. If you want to know more about any of this topic or situations, and I for sure will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for your time. I love you so much, and God bless you.